Hey all, Geoffrey here on Nutroi. No, I am not walking right now because it took me a very painful 10-minute walk to get down to where I am, so I'm going to stand still and let you guys admire the beauty of Nutroi. And I'm sorry to have gotten all of you excited about this job prospect. No interview today, probably not tomorrow either. I figured it was a little quick of a turnaround to get the attention of two very busy people to talk to some guy whom they've never even heard of. So hopefully next week I will keep you all posted. But that has also given me some more time to continue practicing, which these videos have been fantastic practice. I realized that my fluency in my interview answers has gotten much better. I recorded some of them and realized that even in those interview questions, I'm talking much better than I did even in these videos like a year ago. So thanks for listening all. I'm going to keep recording because it's great practice for me. And while I'm practicing, I figure I'll talk about something important, like global warming, which is kind of appropriate for my career. But we're going to take a little bit to get there. First, I want to start off with radiation. I promise I'll make a connection here. I'm actually going to step further away, but I promise I'll make a connection. A couple years ago, I read a book called Republic Lost by Lawrence Lessig. He explains in it the primary factors in corruption in the US political system. So if you are interested in such a topic, I highly recommend the book, or just look up anything Lawrence Lessig has online. I'm sure he's got much more updated things. I think that book was from like 2014 or 15. So a lot of that information is a bit outdated, but it definitely still drives home the point. But the big thing that I took away from it, besides all the political things, was one little bit. I think it was in the introduction. It was very early on. And he noted a study that someone had done. It was a big meta-analysis of all of these scientific publications investigating the correlation between Wi-Fi, or microwave radiation, and biological effects. So basically trying to answer the question, does cell phone radiation, Wi-Fi radiation, that kind of stuff have any kind of impact on biological systems, i.e. people or animals? And all of the numbers kind of break down pretty much 50-50. I think there were like 300 studies or something, and about half on one side, half on the other, so pretty easy to conclude that, well, the jury is still out. Science doesn't really know the answer to that question. However, this researcher had information on where these studies got their funding. And for the studies that were funded publicly by like universities or public foundations, about 3/4 of them found some biological effects. And for privately funded, aka from the big wireless corporations, it was pretty much the opposite. So that's why it's 50-50 and not 75-25, because there was probably some influence. Now, of course, correlation does not equal causation, and that was Lessig's point, and that's why he didn't really dig into that topic, because the whole thing was just to show that money can shed doubt on these kinds of things. And of course, it's very easy for us to make that connection and be like, oh, there you go. It's the big wireless corporations, and they're just trying to kill all of us, and they're greedy pigs, and that's why we can't trust the science, because those greedy bastards just trying to trick all of us. But I think there's something deeper than that. I think there's something more complicated than that. I'm sure that that has some kind of an effect, and I'm sure there are some unscrupulous people who are funding these kinds of studies. But do you really want to know that your cell phone is giving you cancer? I don't want to know that. That sucks. I like having my cell phone. I love being able to leave the house, have no idea where I'm going, and just trust that Google Maps will get me there. It totally changed my life if I had to, like, turn off my cell phone every day, or if they started taking down cell phone towers, or if I didn't have Wi-Fi in like every public building. Like, that would really change things. Like, all of this progress that we think we've made would have to go backwards. Do we really want to go backwards in progress? Or have we actually made progress? I guess I'm kind of leading into, well, if you don't want to know that your cell phone is giving you cancer, do you really want to know that your trusty pickup, that the electricity in your home, that the dinner you put on your table, that the industries that made all of the things you have possible are contributing to a phenomenon that could be putting the existence of our species at risk? I don't want to know that. I don't think a lot of people want to know that. And even if you think you're open-minded, and a lot of people do, and maybe they don't, but even if you think you can objectively weigh both sides of that argument, it might be something a little deeper that says, I don't want to know that. Maybe I'll be a little bit more skeptical. Maybe I'll be a little harsher on that source of evidence. Maybe I'll think a little more critically about that study that says something that I really don't want to know. So I suppose it's not really that hard to understand why a lot of people don't accept that climate change is a real thing and that we're responsible.